Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Startup Canada offices today. We are welcomed with two representatives from Innovation Canada. Today we're welcoming Kate Poirier, the Director of Marketing at Innovation Canada. Welcome. And Christina McDonald, the Manager of Marketing at Innovation Canada. With combined 25 plus years of experience in marketing and communications, Kate and Christina are driven to see every Canadian business ask themselves, what can government really do for me? And we're really going to be diving into that today. Kate's extensive experience in the private sector and Christina's deep understanding of the government power will help entrepreneurs across Canada find the support that they need to start, grow, and scale. And we're all behind that. The government offers hundreds of programs to help start, scale, and grow businesses in Canada, but if entrepreneurs can't find them, they really can't take advantage of them. So we'll be going through a really step-by-step practical process today to make sure that all the entrepreneurs in the audience can find the resources that they need. Today we're going to be looking at two specific areas. So how can you help businesses in your community get a tailored list of the right government programs that are going to support them? And the Innovation Advisor Program. So a personalized one-stop shop service offered across Canada by former entrepreneurs, and many of you potentially in the audience are connected to this program already, who can leverage their experience and their expertise. So welcome, Christina and Kate. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much. We're really excited to be here. Thanks for having us. And big thank you to the startup communities too for joining in on the line. We're really excited to have you join and listen to us today. So we're really excited that we get to work on this great project and help connect businesses with the resources to help them grow. So today's presentation is going to be in English, but we're happy to take questions in English or French. Ça nous ferait plaisir de vous répondre en anglais ou en français à la fin de la présentation. Et on a une copie de la présentation en français aussi qu'on va partager à la fin. So I guess to get started, I'd like to echo what you said there about finding all the programs. Sometimes people say you don't know what you don't know, and that applies perfectly, I find, to entrepreneurs in relation to government support. There are hundreds of programs driven by the federal government and provincial territorial governments to help entrepreneurs scale and grow. But our experience is a lot of people don't even know where to look. And if you don't know where to find them, you can't take advantage of them because you can't Google what you don't know, right? So that's where we come in. We were created in 2017. Innovation Canada is part of the federal government, and it was created as a one-stop shop to help innovators and entrepreneurs find out what the government can do for them. We know government's complicated. There's a lot of departments and ministries in it. How are you supposed to make sense of all of that? So we started as a small team, as a little startup with a handful of people, borrowing, laptops from other colleagues and that to get going. And we built this digital platform that pulls it all into one place, and it tailors the information so it's all about the user, like all about you. You won't find our site all about us as a typical government web page might be. It's really user driven. So we're going to dig into that today a little bit. So let's get started. We have a little video that tells you kind of what we're all about.
This is where it begins. With an idea that could change the world. Bringing that idea to life means long days and longer nights. Because innovation isn't about quick wins. It's about dedication and finding the right backer. Someone who will make things happen, who will give you honest advice, who will fund you and introduce you to the right people. That's what we do. We back innovators like you. Because what you're building is helping us build a better Canada.
And that's really what we're all about. We want to help build up Canada, and you guys are doing that. It's the entrepreneurs are the backbone of our country and bringing us forward. And so we want to help connect you with the supports that are designed to help you grow. So I'd like to quote a famous quote. I'm not going to do the impression because my impressions are terrible. But JFK is famous for saying, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, right? I would say with all due respect, forget that for a minute. Ask, what can my government do for me, right? So we're here to hopefully help answer that question. So Innovation Canada, as you can see on the screen, we have a family of programs We have some funding programs, and we also connect you to all the different federal supports. And I would say too, because we're called Innovation Canada, obviously we have a focus on innovation. But the website that we're going to take you through today, the platform, doesn't have only innovation programs, because what is an innovation program anyway, right? It'll actually put you in touch with all of the programming for innovators and entrepreneurs of all types in Canada. So that's what we're going to get into today.
Great. So the slide that we have up here is just to let you know a little bit about the Innovation Canada family. We won't spend too much time on it, but you may have heard of some of the programs that are up here. So things like super clusters or the Strategic Innovation Fund, which offers upwards of $10 million for projects that are really up and on the go. BizPal helps you find all the permits and licenses in one place. So this is part of the family that we're working with, and we have some funding services and we have some helpful advisory services, which is where we fit in. Go to the next one. Yeah. So specifically our group, what we can offer, we have the web platform, which we're going to take you through in a second, because I think the best way to explain it is to really give you a demo. And we have some innovation advisors. And actually, we're really excited because our innovation advisors have just joined us all over the country. We recently hired folks who have been working as entrepreneurs or out in the field with great levels of expertise, and they really understand the government landscape. So we'll talk to you about those guys as well, but we're very excited to have them on board and up and running with us.
Great. And for our audience, if you have any questions, there is a Q&A function on your Zoom platform. So feel free to ask questions, and we'll loop back at the end of the demo and sort of as we go through the presentation. So feel free to ask.
For sure. Okay, so maybe we'll move ahead and go into the platform. So before we do the demo, just want to let you know a little bit about the platform and what it is. So essentially, as Kate mentioned, there are hundreds and actually thousands of things out there to help you grow your business. But it's really hard to find the ones that are specifically for you. So what the platform does is everything that you can get, so not necessarily even a program, every part of that program that's broken down into either money or advice. There's things like wage subsidies, tax credits, interns, partnership, collaboration opportunities. All of those things, we brought them into the platform. And what you do is you tell us a little bit about you, a quick story. What's your business? What are you up to? And then it pulls from all of those a tailored list for you of the best programs for your business and your needs at this time. So we're excited about that because it takes sort of the complication out of it, and it really is super fast and easy. You'll see when we go through it, it's maybe 2 minutes, and then you get a tailored list of things that are going to work for you. And then we've also introduced in the last couple of months another feature we're really excited about, which is that once you've gone through it, you can save your favorite programs. So we know that you're busy. We understand that you don't have time to go and check a website every day. So now we've created a couple of features where you can go in and you can save your stories. And if anything changes, we'll let you know. Or we'll let you know if there's a new program that fits your needs and matches what you're looking for. So let's go through. The best way is really just to go through and have a quick look at it. We'll do a little demo. Just gonna grab the mouse here. So when you land on the site, so you can, there is an option, and we can talk about that when we get to the favorites a little bit more about signing into the site and logging in. For now, we're just going as a guest, as you would if you showed up.
Mm-hmm. And so the website is innovation.canada.ca as your first step.
So I'll tell you a little bit about my totally made up business that we're going to talk about today. So I'm a mom of 2 young kids. And at our school, we have something called boomerang lunches. I don't know if anyone else has those. Yeah. So basically what it means is you send your kids to school with lunches, and anything they don't eat or any garbage comes home every night. So it can be messy, and it drives me a little bit crazy. So we want to, as a family, be super eco-friendly and send them with containers that don't leak, that we can be really environmental. So what I developed was a business to develop these eco containers that are spill-proof, leak-proof, aren't super expensive, because we know that your kids are going to lose them millions of times throughout the day. So this is the business that I've created, and let's walk through a little bit of what I'm looking for right now while we do this. So once you go on to the splash page, this is what you'll see. There's a little cube that you'll notice from our startup video. So you just simply go through and click. So I'm living in Ontario. Specifically, I'm in the southern region.
It's kind of like a Mad Libs.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of something. Yeah.
Yeah, and right now at the stage that I'm at, what I need is a little bit of funding to help me and loans. Of course, I'll be interested in any tax credits, and I'm really looking for advice. I've never run a business before or started a business, and I'd love to know how to get this up and going. I need at least $2,000 to start, and I'm thinking I could use up to $60,000 if anyone's willing to lend it to me, because I have a lot of ideas. So I'll put 60. So you can type zeros or K's in there, either one works. So right now, my main goal is I really want to grow and expand my business. I've had a little bit of success. I've been selling around. I've gotten into a couple stores, but I'm not really hitting big time yet. I'd eventually like to export, so sure, I'd love to see what's there for me. And I really want to reduce pollution. That's a really big part of why I'm doing this. So let's keep going. So now I'm in the business of manufacturing. I want to be making some new products, specifically in the area of, this might not be obvious to me. I don't know enough about these different areas to know which one works, so I'm just going to choose not sure. I'm proudly Canadian-owned woman, and because I'm almost 40, I get to still be youth. Woohoo! And I'm currently only 1 employee strong. I'm incorporated, and I'm in it for profit. So let's see what we can find. You'll notice how quickly this populates. And while we're looking at it, I want to explain that what the results that come up, this is your story up here, and the results that come up are tailored just to you, but more than that, they're not thrown in there in sort of a haphazard or alphabetical fashion. In the background, they're really, really weighted and rated to show you the most relevant results for you. So the things that you're seeing will be the ones that are more likely to be helpful at the top, and then the ones that are maybe less helpful or different going down. So you'll see that for every category, this is a funding, I have 19 results. I see all these categories here I can take a look at. And then if I open one, there's more details on that program. So the status, is it accepting? It is right now, it's accepting clients, perfect. How much money can I get? What are the funding limits? So it gives you a little bit of an overview. If you're really interested and you want to go back later, you can click Get the Details, and that'll take you right to the program's main page where you can learn everything you need to know, including how to apply. And then just to go back here for a second, what you'll see is I can scroll through it showing me all my results for things that might help in the loans department, different advice and expertise options I have. And then down here, even though I didn't ask for it, it's showing me some of the results that might be interesting to me in the partnering and collaboration areas or wage subsidies. And there's also this more results for you. These are things that may be helpful to you, like registering a trademark that you may not have thought of, but might be good to think about that the government can help you with. So I'm gonna let Kate show us a little bit about the favorites function on here. So
I just add too, like the points at the bottom, it's kind of like, we're all familiar with an online shopping experience. And that was really part of our inspiration when we put this in, is like, how do we get the most relevant results for you and your situation? And even some of the things that you might not have thought about, because you can't search for something, as I was saying before, you can't search for something if you don't know where to look. And in doing our user testing, we tested with tons of entrepreneurs, businesses who were just starting out, and businesses who have been in the game for a while and have already locked down a lot of government support. And they told us that, first of all, they were seeing a lot of the results here that they were expecting to see, which was great. But the feedback that we got once we launched was people were loving the site, but they were really wishing that they could save their results and be notified if anything changes. We get it. You're busy. You're running around all the time, running your business. So we just a few months ago actually launched a new function, which is you can save your story, you can save your results, and you can favorite certain programs that you want to watch. And if anything changes, on those programs, because we're updating it constantly. If an application deadline is coming up, or if there's a new program that comes up that matches a story that you've saved, you'll be notified. So you don't have to come back and check in with us all the time. We've got your back and we'll let you know.
And is that the star function that we're seeing on our screen?
So yeah, so there with the star function. Now, Christina didn't log in at the start, but she could log in there. And if you use the star function, and if you scroll back up to the top, you can see she can expand out her story there. And you can save multiple stories. So for me and my, imaginary business scenarios, I've saved a couple different ones depending on my different product lines or whatever. And then that's how you would kind of go through there. Another thing to note that's helpful is just like any sort of search criteria, we're all familiar with how filters work. The more specific you get, the more targeted results you'll get. So if you leave it really open, if she hadn't given a dollar range, for example, she would have had programs where, you know, they'll only look at your application if you're asking for more than $10 million. But by giving a range, then you make sure you get more targeted results to your exact situation. It's more helpful for you. So I encourage people to be as specific as possible, but go in and toggle those around and see what comes up.
Great.
Yeah.
And there's a view of what you'll see sort of when you're saving your favorites. So you'll be able to go back and look at everything just in one area, and it's there for you, easier to get to. You don't have to read through everything again.
And the tile mechanism, I think, is just so easy to follow that you can then click through, then get more information.
Yeah.
So just having that one-stop sort of vantage point, I think, is so helpful. Great.
That was the one thing we heard actually in the testing is
Yeah.
like it's a nice concise thing, and what you'll see too is it's not governmenty language. We tried really hard to be like as clear as possible, and sometimes you'll even see in one of the tiles you might get to the actual program page and the program name will be a lot more formal, but we try to make it as clear and descriptive as we can because we want it to time trying to figure out, you know, government speak.
Our audience appreciates that.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurial community says thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. So that was just a sort of quick overview about the platform, but I encourage everyone to check it out themselves. Take a couple of minutes and find out what you might be missing out on. Right. So let's click forward. So we want to kind of put some numbers out there. So innovation.canada.ca launched just around 2 years ago. We've already had over 1 million visits to this site. So we've helped connect Canadian entrepreneurs with the right programs and services over 1 million times. And that's super exciting. I love it. You know, we sometimes joke, and you know, don't tell my boss I'm saying this, but we like to say we're kind of like the eHarmony of government, because there's like over 1 million businesses out there and 1,000 programs, and we're trying to make those matches, find the right ones for you. So it's working well. We've had great feedback on the site. Since we've launched the Save Your Account function, we've already had 8,000 people register and save their account. We have over a quarter almost of our visitors are actually returning visitors. So clearly there's people finding value there and they're coming back to check out what else is new. But it's going really well. We're updating it all the time. So I would say, you know, check back, get the notifications, check back often, and don't miss out. Click again. And just, we thought we'd give you a snapshot because it's a little bit tricky to imagine when I say, you know, over 1,000 programs. What does that actually mean, and what's in there for me, right? So we have over 100 programs right now specifically for startups. And just to be clear, we're not offering all these programs at Innovation Canada. We're pointing you to the program. So some of them might be local in your own community. Some of them are specific to provinces. So imagine the people who are applying to that. It's a lot smaller group of people, and some of them are a lot more targeted. So because it's, you know, a national website that pulls in also provincial, territorial, and nonprofit organizations that offer programs and services for businesses, it's all in one spot. We have 160 programs on the platform right now promoting exports. We have programs specific for women entrepreneurs, Indigenous-owned businesses. So there's some very specific programs out there, and there's a lot of stuff available, and it's worth checking out for sure. And I would say, I keep saying we have programs on the platform now, it's because they're changing all the time. And when Christina expanded that one view a couple minutes ago, and you saw that green light, that shows you that it's active right now. You might see a yellow light on some of them saying it's closing soon, but what you're not going to see is a program that closed last year that might still be available on the internet someplace, and you're going to spend time reading their application guide only to find out that it's closed and you've wasted your time. So we're not going to show you stuff that's closed or that you're going to waste your time on. We're going to show you stuff that's relevant to you.
Yeah, and I think it's great because when we go around talking about it and we're from the federal government, people are thinking that it's federal government.
Yeah.
As you said, Kate, it's great to know that it really pulls in everything from provinces and territories, and it's really helpful that way too. So aside from the platform, we have, as I mentioned at the offset, some innovation advisors, and those are these lovely folks here. I have a big smile because we're so excited that they're all on board. They're great.
And they're so awesome. They're super friendly and wonderful.
Yeah, you can kind of tell by their smiles. We were there for the photo shoot. It was a good time. Anyway, so these guys are located all across the country, and basically Most of them have either experience as entrepreneurs or they've worked helping entrepreneurs before. And so in addition to the expertise they bring to the table themselves, they also have great networks. And so we're really excited about this because they've really been in the shoes of folks who are looking for government programs, and they've had to go through the process of finding which programs fit me and how do I apply and why didn't I make it this time and what's good timing. And so they bring a certain kind of wealth of experience that we think would be super valuable to the entrepreneurs out there. So how do we talk to these folks? So there's a couple ways that we can get in contact with the entrepreneurs. If you want to just, go ahead. So this just shows where folks are across the country, just like a quick little map. But generally what happens is if you're interested in talking to an innovation advisor, they offer a certain kind of spectrum of services. So the first services they offer are to companies who are incorporated. You're already incorporated, you're working on your business full time, and then it's something innovative. And we talked about the word innovation, and we kind of want to dispel the myth around that word a little bit. So they're looking at people who are working on something innovative, whether it be a product or just a new process or a new way of doing things. It doesn't have to mean that you're coming up with, the next light bulb. It's really just a new way of doing things and helping things progress. So if you are, you can maybe just move to the next slide. If you are in that space and you're able to, and you want to reach out to someone, you can call our call centers. We have the phone number coming up here as well on the next slide. So you can give our call center a call, and actually the folks there are happy to help you also. So you'll get a warm, friendly human, because sometimes not all of us enjoy the digital experience, who can tell you a little bit more about the programs that are suitable to you right now and who can help connect you with the advisors. So, and then the advisors really can offer very personalized advice, like I said, because they've been there before, and that experience and expertise that we're excited to have brought to Canada.
I was just gonna say, they're super plugged in with the network too, right?
Yeah.
Like the programs and services that are offered by all the different levels of government, these innovation advisors, like many of them are actually co-located with them. Like they share offices, so they're super plugged into all the people whose programs you're gonna be interested in applying to. So it's a great way to get their intel too on what those programs are looking for and how to kind of position your application or just be more connected, right?
Yeah. And the nice thing too is it's almost like you can visually picture they each have sort of their own spider web of networks and knowledge, but when they're all connected together, which they are now across the country, it's really a nice sort of blanket of that network across the country.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then
There's that.
Most important slide.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
boy, yeah.
So I guess this is kind of the end of our formal presentation, but I guess we just wanted to leave you with, at the end of the day, I can't say it enough. You don't know what you don't know, and it's really worth taking the time to find out. Ask, what can the government do for me? Take a few minutes and find out, because you never know. Like, turn over those rocks, because there might be something great that can help you kick it up a level. So for people who are organizations who work with businesses, like the startup community leaders on the phone, if you found this information helpful, we have tools we'd love to share with you so that you can tell the entrepreneurs in your network or entrepreneurs on the line, if you heard anything today that you think, man, I should really tell friends about. We've got all sorts of shareables that we'd love to send your way. So you can contact us. Our personal emails are right up there, and we'd be happy to connect you.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. This was really fun.
It was a lot of fun. So we'll open things up to Q&A and see if there are any questions. It appears that we have quite a number of them. Yes, we will be sending a copy of our slides. So to everybody who registered to the session today, we have recorded this session and we'll distribute it to everyone. So you'll have access through that mechanism. I live in Quebec, but see my market as Ontario. Should I set up my search in both provinces?
Great question. Great question. It probably depends a little bit on what you're looking for. For most of the federal programs, they're good. The supports are going to be looking at where your headquarters is located. So depending on the type of programming, that might be what you want to look at. For some of the advisory services, you might want to speak to advisors who know the Ontario ecosystem. But it depends on what you're looking for specifically. You could run scenarios with both provinces and just toggle it and see what results come up.
Okay.
The one thing for Ontario too, I would just note, because Ontario is so wide, and there are some programs that are for specific areas of Ontario. That's one filter, that when you pick Ontario, it'll ask you if you're in southern or southern/eastern, which Ottawa, we fall into that one, or in Northern Ontario, because there are some programs specifically for Northern Ontario or for Southern Ontario.
Fantastic. Another question, can you apply to more than one program?
Absolutely. So these are programs offered by all different government departments and different areas. So I would apply to as many as you think that you're eligible for, because absolutely you can apply to everything that's on there.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say there's some programs, notably some federal grant type programs, that'll have what's called stacking limits. Now, if you see that on there, feel free to reach out to us if you have questions about that. But there are some funding programs that'll have a limit to how much support you can combine from multiple levels of government. So if you've already secured some provincial funding from your provincial government and you're applying for a federal grant, just be aware that there might be a limit to how much funding you can combine, but the program officers at each of those different departments would be able to tell you more about that.
So to that question, we have a few other questions asking about federal programs versus provincial programs. It lists everything in there, or is it just federal?
No, it's everything. It's federal,
Exactly.
provincial, territorial, and there's also many nonprofits that have funding from governments that are on the platform.
Okay, great. So let's scroll down and see if there might be a few other options for questions. We have a number of different ones. What we'll do is we'll follow up with everybody individually afterwards to do other questions. En français, si un entrepreneur n'est pas innovation,
Un démarrage.
Un démarrage, les conseilleurs peuvent rencontrer.
Alors, les conseillers en innovation, ça dépend de votre situation. En général, ils veulent, excusez-moi. En général, ils rencontrent les entreprises qui sont déjà incorporées. Mais dépendant de votre situation, si vous voulez les appeler, je pense qu'ils aimeraient bien vous aider. Excusez-moi, je suis malade. Can we answer this one?
Sure.
Oh, great question.
Okay, so is the Innovation Advisor Program a pay-for service?
No, hooray! Everything that we offer
Okay,
is
some more water.
Yeah. Everything we offer is a free service. So the innovation advisors will share their time, their expertise with you, and there is no cost to any of their services at any stage.
Fantastic. Can you speak to an advisor even if your business is not incorporated?
So that's a great question, and that's a similar question that we're responding to. So the innovation advisors are typically looking to speak to people who are already at a certain level, largely because a lot of the programs that they can help connect you with are really most beneficial at that stage. But if you call the call center, it's not to say that there's never an opportunity. I think I would for sure call the phone number and chat with someone, and they'll find out if it's a great fit or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let's see, we're getting a couple of questions. If you're planning to scale or scale your startup and go global, is there any support for that? So we're talking about export capacity. What can you tell us a little bit more about in detail there?
Yeah, so there's a number of support. So we mentioned, I think there was 160 when we looked yesterday. And there's a lot of different supports out there right now. I think that going global is a really important part of what Canada's trying to support for entrepreneurs right now. It's really a big priority. So absolutely take a look at all of the results that you can find. And we can mention also, sometimes people prefer to look at things a little bit differently. Our platform really helps you find what is tailored to you. If you're working with businesses and you want to just sort of get more of a global feel, there's also on the platform what's called a list view. So if maybe you're a community leader and you just want to get a good scope of what's out there, not for a particular circumstance, you can always have a look and see what programs are out there generally.
Fantastic. And you can join the Canadian Export Challenge with Startup Canada programming for next year as well. We offer a lot in that space too.
Yeah.
If we're a nonprofit and want to be listed, how do we submit our company? So sort of coming at it from that angle.
Like if you want to appear on the platform?
Exactly.
Oh, great. So we do have some nonprofits. Our criteria right now is, because we're trying to make sure that the scope is consistent across the platform, if you're a nonprofit that gets some funding from provincial, territorial, or federal governments, definitely we can look at listing you on the platform. You can get in touch with us. Our contact information is in the deck.
Fantastic. And same question sort of along the lines with the advisors. Are you looking for additional advisors, and how can you get involved if you'd like to be an advisor?
Oh, great question.
We have a keen community of entrepreneurs, so.
Yeah, so they just sort of hired up right now, but for sure, I would always say if you're interested, it never hurts to send a resume or an email to us, and we can pass it along to the folks who are hiring for that team.
Yeah, fantastic. Then the does the home address based corporations, are they eligible for funding programs as well,
Yeah.
as opposed to a business location, perhaps? Maybe that's a more of a specific question.
There are many funding programs that don't require you to be incorporated at all. We put that out there because there are some that do have that as a requirement, depending on each program. There's many different programs across Canada that have that as a requirement. Some will have, it's really just look at the program itself. Some will have a criteria, you need to have at least so many employees or not. And then some of them are just for businesses who aren't incorporated, who are just starting out, trying to get going. So there's a lot, really depending on your situation, like just take a look through.
Fantastic. And can permanent residents also use these services, or just for Canadian citizens?
I think the different programs probably all have different criteria, but absolutely the platform would be something that you could search for everybody, and then just take a look at the criteria for each program.
Great. Yeah, I think we have a number of questions looking at permanent residents and non-Canadian citizens. Great.
Yeah, I think that's one thing to remember, because the platform is basically, it's crawling and it's pulling together all these different programs that are offered by many different organizations, right? We're not actually offering many of these programs. The Innovation Canada ones, yes, we do. But many of the others, we're pointing you to other places. So whenever you see in those tiles, if you always take a look to expand it, and there's that little yellow button that says get the details, that's where you'll go take off and go to the program site where you can get more detail and all that kind of nitty gritty. So we're talking about exports before. If you run a scenario through about exports, you're going to get results like the Trade Commissioner Service and EDC, Export Development Canada. And so you can go off and visit their sites and find out what all of the supports that they can offer too. It's really just kind of a pull it all together spot, but most of the details will be very specific to each of the program services.
Yeah, fantastic.
And I would add, sorry, just part of the value that I think that we are adding is what you were talking about, sort of that plain language intro to the program. So all the details are, as Kate said, on the different various platforms or various websites, but that little intro is meant to just save you time by giving you a really simple overview and maybe oversimple in some cases because you need to read how to apply and what the details are, but really gives you an idea of whether it's something that you want to spend more time on or move on from.
Well, our whole thing, like our principle around building that was that can give you in a really quick snapshot, is that program going to be for me? Does it fit my situation? And am I going to be for it? Are they going to be looking for someone with my kind of profile?
Do they like walks on the beach, or do I like walks on the beach?
Can you imagine?
Okay, so maybe we'll take one more question. So someone's asking if they're already part of an incubator, so can they still apply to these programs for funding, networking, and mentoring?
Yeah, for sure. I would say,
Not a restriction.
No.
Fantastic. We're getting a lot of positive feedback, and it looks like this was a very helpful session. So thank you. Thank you so much. I know a few people are still asking if this presentation is going to be sent to you. Yes, we're going to be sending this whole webinar to all of our participants from today. So you'll get access to all of the details, contact information, etc. So we'll take some time maybe after to answer a few of the more specific questions. But thank you so much, Kate and Christina, for joining us today at the Startup Canada offices. We look forward to continuing this collaboration. We'll be working closely with our startup communities moving forward as well to make sure that we can get all this information into the right hands, because as you say, you don't know what you don't know. So we want to make this as easy as possible for our network. And so thank you so much to Innovation Canada and ISED for supporting. So thank you again, everybody. My name is Kayla Isabel. I'm the incoming managing director at Startup Canada. I believe I forgot to mention that at the beginning who I was throughout this whole conversation. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you.